You know, the harvest is ready, but the laborers are few. You know why there are few? Because the devil is trying to make lives of each one of us focus on what? On our anxieties. On ourselves. Exactly. On our anxiety. He's playing on our emotions in order that we forget everything else. We can't focus on what we should be doing. We are focusing, and this doesn't bring solution, true? Somebody said that this morning. Anyway, this is exactly what is happening with the rest of the world. So we are reading that Jesus went through all cities and villages, teaching in synagogues and proclaiming gospel of the kingdom. And he was basically doing that in order that he would change the world. He came to establish his kingdom. Okay? And so on. You know, we know we were studying it in the Sabbath school. The harvest is plentiful, and we can see that all around the world. And all creation cries. Harvest time is never holidays. I said that in the previous section. Although it is a sacred time, it is a hard time of hard work. It is hard because we rarely see ourselves that we are to be harvested. You know that. Because as we are ministering, as we are becoming hands and feet of Jesus, we have to struggle within ourselves to reflect character of God. Our actions are useless, pointless, if they are not flowing from the changed heart. Do you know how many good non-believers in God are there in the world? And that is just pure human ambition. Nothing lasting will come out of empty heart. The heart that is converted will bring fruit for eternity. And the thing is the converted heart, changed heart. We have the opportunity to introduce, while we are working on our hearts, we've got the opportunity to introduce people to eternity. Nice, isn't it? We've got opportunity to, so any crisis that happens around the world, around us, within our reach, where we can do something, whether it is 50 cents or whatever it is, whether it's giving somebody a cup of water, whatever. It is an opportunity to introduce people to eternity, because they will ask, why are you doing it? I was talking to a person who went to Nepal with Kellyville mission, and after they've done a lot of work there, there were some leaders that basically took this one particular man who was perceived by them as a leader, and they took him to the side, in the dark corner of the city, and with sticks and stones and whatever, they said, why are you doing this? Who paid you? Who sent you? And he said, nobody. Nobody. After half an hour of pushing, suddenly the change of tone came. And he says, so do you mean you do it for us? You came here for us? Nepalese? Hindus? And this man says, yeah. Then this violent man started to cry. They hugged, they returned. That's Esther's husband. Mm-hmm. This is what happens. People are asking why. And this is where things starting, it's not normal in this world when you do something for nothing. Now why? You do something for nothing because what? Because of the heart that is sticking in you. The commission that Jesus is giving to us is not an easy task, neither it is a safe game. It is, because Jesus said, see, I am sending you out like sheep into the midst of the wolves, so be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. I was going to read it again, opposite, but don't worry, you're not asleep. We know what we need to do. I mean, we will have opposition. We were told that we will have opposition. We should not be surprised. It's there. We are still in the enemy's territory. We said that in the Sabbath school. Victory is secured, but we are still militant, not triumphant church. It is not the time of palm entry into Jerusalem, heavenly Jerusalem. It is path to the cross. Because if the Master was crucified, then who are we that we should miss on that? We need to be ready for it, whether it happens or not. Remember, the chapter 20 of the book of Romans says, I want you to be a living sacrifice. Whether you will be sacrificed or not, it's a different story. You need to be ready. You need to be clean, blameless, ready for sacrifice whenever it is required. In Ephesians 5:15, Paul is saying, be careful then how you live. Not as unwise, but as wise, making most of the time, because the days are evil. What? Praise God that you are here, because we can encourage one another, so we can reset. That's fair. That is a good word today, isn't it? Reset. We need to reset our computers too. Focus on Jesus. So do not be foolish, but understand what the will of the Lord is. Why? Why? Why do we need to understand? Because God doesn't want us to be fooled by the deceptions of the enemy. He is selling rubbish in the colorful papers. That's what happens. Richard Wurmbrand saw the urgent need to prepare the church that lived in the freedom to difficult times ahead of the decline of Christian values that he was sure was coming. This is 1969. Richard Wurmbrand came to Australia that year. And he, when we are looking at that, he saw the unwillingness of church leaders in the free countries to fully accept information about persecution of Christians in communist, socialist countries. There was no fascism or as such at the time. Much less to the decline in liberty of the church in the free world. We are living in the free world. And that's why religion is boring. People in Kenya, people in Tanzania, people in Uganda, people in India cannot tell that Christianity is boring, because it is the lifeline. I was listening to YouTube this week or last week. YouTube, where a question was posed, why Africa is poor. And there was a bright lady. The argument was that Africa is poor because they are lazy. I let it sink. Because while I was there, I didn't see any person in Africa that was lazy. Actually, at times we were ashamed how we are contributing with the muscle in comparison. So what's the story? You know, as we are looking, you know, let's consider Richard Wurmbrand. Wurmbrand was arrested in 1948 and released from prison for Christianity. He was a Lutheran minister who was released from the prison in 1964. In 1969, he came to Australia to preach the warning to the Christians living in the free countries. He came just on the eve of, or in the time of grand swelling in Australia before the election of the next person to him. Okay? So who was he? Gough Whitlam. What party is he representing? Which one? Socialist, huh? Okay, so now here we have, you know, Richard Wurmbrand, who was in prison for Christianity in the socialist country, okay, who lived at least 3 years about 3 meters underground, not seeing the light, not hearing and not interacting with anyone, except when the ball was slipped under his door in order to make him leave. And the rest of the time was quiet. There were times where they forced them to eat their own. This is for Christianity. That was the only reason. Apparently the capitalists are rotten and the socialists and communists are all good, all interested in welfare of community for the common good. It's interesting. It doesn't happen in Africa. There is no much. I mean, it doesn't look like there is much care for common good. But we extract everything that we can from Africa. We extract, you know, from other places. It's not we. Let's remember. You know, this is the thing. We visit, as we are now, but we should not be talking politics in the church, should we? Or should we? Is the Bible talking anything about politics? If you go to chapter 7 in the book of Daniel, now you can see in the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and visions of his head while on his bed. On the chapter 8, in the third year of king of Belshazzar's reign, I, Daniel, had a vision after the one that had already appeared to me. So he is talking 2 years later. You can notice that. 2 years later, he is talking about another vision concerning the previous vision. So after the vision in chapter 1, in chapter 7, he have seen the vision, another vision 2 years later. And it was, in that vision, he have seen 4 beasts. He have seen political spectrum that was taking place in the rest of the world until future, whatever. You can see chapter 7, 4 great beasts came up. First one like lion, second like bear, third like leopard. The fourth beast dreadful. No description, just dreadful. This beast had horn with eyes and mouth. Interesting. Okay? So this is that's political future presented in those 2 visions. You go further, verse 11 says, I watched then, because he was very interested, not much about lion, not much about leopard. He was interested in the dreadful dreadful beast, the fourth animal. Let's put it this way. Animals were representing systems. So there was Babylonian system, there was Medo-Persian system, there was Greek system, and Greek systems. I watched then because of the sound of the pompous words which the horn was speaking. I watched till the beast was slain and the body destroyed and given to the burning flame. What is he talking about? He is talking about final outcome for that system, isn't he? What is the final outcome? That's the. Is this a good news for Daniel or not? It is a good news for Daniel because he knows that he will not be in Babylon all the time. True? There will be time when he will come out of prison. But it is also good news because it is not just for this time. You know, when you see, you know, the thing is prolonged for a season at a time, so it goes on to the future. And this vision is given to Daniel not because God is careless, not because he is harsh, because he is informing us in order that he will save us. Like a good surgeon, he is cutting not to wound but to heal. True? So he may tell us some radical information, God can tell us, in order to actually help us. This is the situation that we find here. You can see then, where are we? Verse 13, I was watching in the night vision, and behold, one like Son of Man coming up with the cloud of heaven. Wow, interesting. After all this vision, he have seen what? Second coming. So the whole story is leading up to the second coming. Is this our time? I believe so. And you know, we can see these things happening. So this is where we are going. Chapter 17, we've got the description. Chapter 7, verse 17. Those great beasts which you were for are the four kings. So no, this is the interpretation. But the saints of the Most High shall receive the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever and ever and ever. He didn't spill out all the beans. But before he does it, he is giving us Panadol. True? He is giving us Panadol because he is sharing with us what will be the final outcome. No matter what happens, the kingdom will be possessed, will be given forever to those who are his. Okay? And he wants everyone, John chapter 3, verse 16. He wants everyone to be there. Amen. I was watching, so this is the situation that we can see. Now, let me, now 7:21. I was watching, and we've got watching at the same time. Horn was making war against the saints and prevailing against them. Bad news, isn't it? Until the Ancient of Days came, and the judgment was made in favor of the saints. True? This is what's happening. No, he basically gave us another place, another assurance that the final outcome will be the positive for those who are trusting God, for those who follow him. And then we continue on verse 23. That now is the bad news. Politics, isn't it? What? Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be a fourth kingdom on earth, which shall be different from the other kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth. How much? What does it mean, devour? Absorb. Absorb the whole earth. Who will be excluded? Well, it's seemingly, from the political perspective, it is like everyone. But remember, there is 2 spectrums and 2 lords. Remember, we were studying in the Sabbath school. He will trample it and break it in pieces. So he will, you don't see anything positive like, nice treatment, isn't it? When Jesus came to this earth, whom did he break? Whom did he trample? He established a little bit different kingdom, or didn't he? The reed that was bruised, he will not break. But so this seems to be the authority or the power that is different. Then 10 horns are 10 kingdoms who shall arise from this kingdom. Which one? Are you jumping the gun? You see, that when you look at that, the 10 horns are arising from the one horn that is coming from the, because what happens, you've got one horn divided into 4 horns, and then the 3 are broken, one continues. We're talking Greece now. Greece starts with Alexander the Great, then it divides into 4 kingdoms, and only one survives that becomes Rome. Okay? So out of the, you see the continuity there. Out of that one comes 10 kingdoms. Out of this kingdom that will result from breakup of Greek Empire comes another empire, which is represented in this particular verse as a Roman Empire. And Roman Empire breaks up, following comes 10 kingdoms. Which ones? The divided Europe. That's what we get there. This kingdom, and another shall arise after them, after the 10 kingdoms. He shall be different from the first ones, and subdue 3 kings. Now we are talking about the single horn that will knock out the 3 out of the 10. Now we are talking Roman Empire. Okay, before we were talking Greek Empire that converted into Roman Empire. And at this point we are talking about political Rome dividing into the dual Rome. Roman Empire with in the hands of the church. That's what we are talking. That's how it goes. Let's go to the next text. He shall speak pompous words against who? He will be proud against the Most High. Who is Most High? Okay. Shall persecute the saints. Friendly to Jesus. He shall intend to change times and law. So we've got characteristics here that are demonstrating what will be the character and where it is leading. The signs shall be given into his hands when you read it, they shall be given for a year, for 2 years, and for half a year. What are you reading? You are reading time. But in Greek, whether you will say year or time, it is the same word, chronos. So that it's not only just time, it means year. So we've got 3.5 years. Aha. So this is, and how many days have 3.5 years? They have 42 months. How many days? 1,260. How did you know? Because it's referring to the same period of time. Wow. Okay. And after that time, what happens? What happens after the time? This is study, this is not sermon. After that time, but the court shall be seated, and they shall take away his dominion. What happens after all these things? The time of judgment had come. Did you hear these words somewhere? In Revelation, wasn't it? Then people are arguing, Adventists are talking about investigative judgment. Here it is. Here it is. After that, investigative judgment comes. It's not execution yet, but you search your hearts. That's judgment. You seal your future. If you listen to the voice of Jesus, you sealed your future. On which side do we want to stand? True? Is it judgment? Don't blame God for being arbitrary and not letting me in the kingdom. No. We make a judgment. If I reject the words of Jesus, I have sealed my future. That's it. And what happens? They will take. Who are they? Bingo. Beautiful text. Beautiful text. How many people are arguing that there is no Trinity? Quite a few. Quite a few. Okay? When we are talking about God in the Genesis chapter 1, verse 1, we are reading Elohim. It says plural name of God. Here we have seated judgment, and when you go to chapter 7, you've got judgment seat, and you've got description of the one who was sitting in the throne in white garments and all these things. And they are, through this court, they will, who? God. They God? That's exactly. Godhead. Exactly. They will take his dominion to destroy it forever. Only God can make end of this system. That's prediction. This is where we stand. We are caught in the conflict that is beyond the humanity. Because behind the scenes, there is another authority. If you were reading carefully these words, you were reading that the power that is given to the fourth system is not given, but it is not his own power, but is given to outside. By whom? By the power behind the scenes. Okay? So, as we are considering what we are told, what is the final outcome? Why did I list all the characteristics for this system? We are studying, we are not preaching. Why? Why did I list all these characteristics? Did you see dreadful, all kind of stuff that we to demonstrate its character? Is it reflecting character of Jesus? Mm-mm. See, the thing is, we were told that, when you were reading carefully through this text, you could see words like the scheming, the deceptive schemes, and you were reading about violence. You were reading about all these kind of things that were there. Now, when we are looking at all these things, we see that there was that this system had fierce features. It had sinister schemes and so on. Can you trust somebody who is a sinister, who is on the surface playing nice fella, but actually stabbing you behind? True? In 1960s, when there was a time for of freedom movement, Africa was told or was convinced to accept socialism and communism. Okay? when Russia and Europe was sick and tired of it, that's where it was sold somewhere else. We see the outcomes in Cuba. All of Africa is suffering from that. How many, what about South America? It was sold in the wrapping of good news. The priority on our mind is the common good. That's how it looks. You've got the outcomes. What was the system before colonialism? Because colonialism is the face of the bad system that was there. Colonialism brought challenge and progress into Africa and other countries. What was the system before colonialism? Feudalism. Ever since Middle Age, ever since 500 AD, until 1800. Until colonialism, 1800s. Why? That feudal system was so that the Lord owned the property. He would give 1/4 to the church, 1/4, the rest of it would be in charge, and Byron would be in charge, who would distribute to his soldiers, mercenaries and so on, in order to, and eventually who was the one at the bottom? Villages, the villains. They were the ones who were living in villages, didn't own anything. If there was anything that remained, it would be theirs. So this new system says, oh, no, we cannot have all these villains living with no resources. What happened? What happened? We create a new system that will be fairer. Now, coming out of feudalism, we're talking politics or anyway, out of feudalism comes another system, okay? We call it capitalism. Okay? Now, who were the richest people during capitalism? Sorry, during feudalism? And they were all Protestants. All of them were Protestants, Yeah? The point is that the richest people at the time were in charge of the land and so on. Did they give up the land and a reset took place and we divided things fairly? No. The rich become rich and they sent, if they could not make any more money in Europe, they went to Africa to exploit the lands there. So, they started to build colonies. That was the reason. Because they were extending their authority. True? And what? With their own spiritual persuasions that continued to do so. That's what was happening. That was the cunning, deceitful, exalting, self-destructive system that was against God. Because when we are thinking about Jesus, he was not harming anyone. He was not. He would rather die than harm any of you. He did. Okay? So this is the thing. Many people are feeling deceived, but rightfully so. Because it was intended. It was planned. Tell you the nice story. You know what? We are dealing with a system that was represented by the creature with 10 horns. We saw that it was coming out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns. I think I was slow on skipping showing you the slides. When you go to Revelation 13, we see, and I saw a beast rising from the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns. Are we talking about the same system that was represented in Daniel chapter 8, chapter 7? Yes, 10 horns. And on his horns, 10 crowns, okay? This is the thing. If you continue to the next chapter 17, come, I will show you the judgment of the great woman who sits on many waters. Waters, did you have the waters in the previous verse? Yes, that was sitting on the seas, okay? What happens next? And I saw a woman sitting on the scarlet beast, which was full of the names of the blasphemy. What? Okay. Characteristics are matching. Having 7 heads and 10 horns. System that is there. And what is there? Oh, you don't see the purple. Woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet, and adorned with gold and so on. When you look at the symbolism in Revelation, animals are representing political systems, women are representing churches, spiritual systems. There is white woman and scarlet woman. White woman, blameless, spotless, is representing what? Pure church. The other one is representing not so pure. Okay? That is what we see there. What are the waters representing? Good one. Verse 15. Verse 15, the waters which we saw, where the woman sits, are peoples, multitudes, nations, and tongues. Where else do you see that collection? When peoples, multitude, nations, tribes, and people. In Revelation chapter 14, verse... Isn't it? For the great message that is delivered to who? To all those who dwell on earth. To peoples, multitudes, nations, and tongues. Right? Now, you can see this system that is sitting on the sitting on the beast, yeah? It was sitting on the beast. You know, and the 10 horns which you saw on the beast, these will hide the woman. In the previous verse, you saw the woman sitting on the scarlet beast. What system is represented by red color? Which one? What system? Isn't it socialism? Communism? And what is represented by purple and scarlet? No, the woman that was sitting on the red animal. Isn't it a joint junction of spiritual and political? Woman represents church. Animal represents system, political system. What is, so when you look at this, at the forefront is who? To the public is who? The red animal. Who is behind? Who is riding the animal? Predicted, you can see in this text that that is love-hate relationship. Love-hate relationship. The beast is following the orders only for a time, but the outcome God predicted, this will hide the woman. What will happen? They will destroy the woman. The system, the red system represents socialism, communism, fascism. They are all the same, different varieties. But they are supported by system who will know that it will end up the systems one day, God said something different. The systems will destroy her. Okay? What system claims to have common interest? Is the dirty capitalists definitely don't think about the good of people. But when you compare the countries that embraced capitalism and development, average citizen has social security, which is not happening in Africa, which is not happening in South America, which is not happening in India. Do we have common good in our... It's by law, if you not without work, you have to have social security. And if you can't study, don't have work, you study and you get money to study. True? Not in Pakistan, is it? Not in Pakistan. Common interest. So, when we are looking at that, now we need to look at history. Does history confirm what we are reading here? Because this is our speculating. Somebody could claim that we are speculating. Does history prove? Does history confirm that? This is the letter that was sent by National Socialist candidate Adolf Hitler to Pius XII, sent when he was elected. When Hitler was elected, when Hitler was elected, Pius XII sent him this letter. This letter says, "We did all in our part to establish harmonious relations between church and state." What? We are talking about the system. What system? Church and state. We are talking about National Socialist leader that was elected, and congratulations from who? From the religious system. Now that the responsibilities of our pastoral function have increased, our opportunities, how much more ardently do we pray to reach that goal? May the prosperity of the German people and their progress in every domain come, with God's help, to fulfillment. Was it a blessing or curse? I think it was, it was blessing. It was a blessing. It was a blessing to the newly elected leader. Do your good job, let's make it better. You're on the right track. Now, what was the right track at that time? We have annihilated all children who were dysfunctional, who were sick, who had problems with the bones. We have given them diagnosis of mumps or something like that, and we sent them into what? We just gave them injection. 2.5 million intellectuals in Germany were climbed. So let's not put finger on bad Germans. Germans suffered. On top of that, in Germany, we had all the disabled, all the people who had mental problems. All of them were taken into the hospitals, and the doctors were trying to neglect them. They were trying to run greater operation. Records are still there. That's history. What was the better, more harmonious cooperations of these two systems? This is Auschwitz. They are shoes of the people who were extinguished. They are cans of the Cyclone B. That's only what was captured. It was many more. That's still there in the building. This is bowls that they were using. Still there. There is 4.5 tons of hair and glasses and crutches and so on. This is crematorium where they were burned 1 hour after they arrived to the platform. This is bunk beds. You've got 3-tier bunk beds. Each bed contained 10 people. Pigs are living better in Australia. That was the common good of all people. Here we have Alexander Solzhenitsyn, and you can see here the part of Russia. All these things are camps, labor camps. Labor that was driving people into the ground. From 1917, when Lenin introduced the system, until 1959, what they are saying, it's 60 million people that was annihilated. 60 million. That is a very conservative argument. The estimations are that it is 100. So Hitler was doing playground. Stalin was a better murderer, and that's why he won. Are you surprised? All of that was planned by the leader behind the curtains. Who? The enemy of my and your souls was using humans. What is planned? Using undercover political agents, pretend are Roman Catholic converts, families, into the Protestant countries. Now we have to say that, no, what we have to say, we were talking about system, but here we have members of Catholic Church that are used for the benefit of systems. Because the system only thinks of itself, not of the common good. That institution is the richest institution on the planet Earth. I don't know if you noticed that when COVID took place, there was only for 2 days, the YouTube was there, that or article was there in the news that Pope and Francis and Macron were proposing to cancel all national debts of every nation around the world. Lasted 2 years and it was taken off. How come they have money to cancel the debts? Because they are richest. That's the situation. So here we have, that's the plan, using undercover political agents. The next point is, by employing them in the new countries, gradually penetrate governments at every level, affecting their legislation. Are you sometimes puzzled about silly decisions of our governments? Don't be surprised. The next point, entering into education system, boards, committees, association replace the Protestant standards with the philosophy of spiritual exercises to dominate the academic community. Are you not puzzled by the discipline in the schools and how much they are learning and so on? True? That's it. How is education in South America? Where is it better? In Protestant countries. Even Catholic school systems have a better education with Protestant countries. Not in South America, not in Africa. In where? In Protestant countries. Why? Because we want to discredit Protestants. That's the reason. That's what's happening. So let's go to the next point. Further, by entering into military, media, judicial system and judicial system control, the maneuvers on both sides, ensuring fractional losses of Roman Catholic soldiers. Okay, good. I mean, you have to convince people to function. But what is the reason for it? Well, do it with the blood of Protestants. Do it with the blood of anyone else who is not like us. True? That's what the system thinks. Do they sacrifice Roman Catholic members? Of course they do. Of course they do. Totally control institutions and resources, political, military, economical, educational, religious, and environmental. Anything that you've heard in the news recently? That's what's happening. Now, during Second World War, can you see the losses? We are talking about Holocaust and 6.5 million of Jews. Okay, but when you look at that, Belarus lost quarter of population. Then you go, where are we? Then we've got Poland lost nearly 6 millions. Then you've got Ukraine that lost 7 millions. Russia lost 17 millions. Latvia lost 280 or 90. And then Lithuania lost. Now, when you look at all these countries, except for Poland, all of them are Orthodox. They're Orthodox. What happens? Only Poland is Catholic. 94. Did they care? No. Canon fodder. Why? Because Poles were different to the rest of the system. Anyway. So you go on. When you look at China, China lost good to 20 million people. When you're summing up, it was not just Holocaust losing 3.5 million people. For the sake of losing 6.5 million, we lost around 65 millions, from all other nationalities. That was the sacrifice. This was planned. It was planned long ago. Council of Trent in 1500s called for defeat of Reformation. And you've got decisions that were done on the spiritual level, but there were also the conditions, the decisions that were made that I just went through with you. That was the results, and as we are reading. Ignatius Loyola proposed, let the Dominicans retain the responsibility for and maintain the Inquisition, but we, Jesuits, will capture the colleges and the universities. We will gain control of universities, of instruction in law, medicine, science, and education, and so weed out from all books of institutions anything injurious to the Roman Catholic Church. We will enroll ourselves in Protestant preachers and college professors in different Protestant faiths. What? And people are laughing about it when they hear that. Oh yeah, that's what's happening. That was a plan. Is it? Wow. Now, don't talk about that. That's a reality outside of our control. That's what we are. But let's talk about ourselves. At the turn of 1932, a protest movement began in Adventist local congregation in Poland, led by Alfred and Paul Kube. Previously, they were members of the administration of the SDA Church. The leader of new community that emerged was Alfred Kube, who was also opposed to recognizing Ellen White's position in the denomination. Here we have a statement of one of the statements of faith, and you will see words there. You see Ellen White here. You will see here. You will see, for example, 1844, 2300, 1844, investigative judgment. It's all in Polish, but I'm showing, probably you can't see it because it's small, isn't it? Is it any similar to anything that happened in Australia? All these people were against 1844, against investigative judgment, against Ellen White, against sanctuary. Anything happened in Australia that was similar? So it is not new. This one was medical doctor. Ford was theological doctor within our denomination. Okay? And he's pushing that. He was pushing that. Is this something that was biblical? Not that I know about. So what's the problem? You know, the outcomes that we see is that we've got fight between this world and the biblical world. What is the outcome in Australia? Anglicans started dropping in. You've got the statistics from 2001 until 2011. This is how Anglicans dropped over this 100 years. Baptists have dropped. Okay. What happened? What do you think happened to Adventists? What happened? You can see that Adventists until 71 were the growing church in Australia. Guess where we would be in 2011? Somewhere there. Next statement. However, the denomination plateaued in 1971. Some differences in theological direction in the Adventist church in the 80s may have contributed to stagnation. The researcher is not an Adventist, and he noticed the cause of the problem. Praise God. The church is still growing, and the fastest growing denomination with bringing good news to Africa, to South America, to India. Not to America, not to Australia, not to Germany. Wherever we are rich and wherever these teachings have affected our church, I had to learn that when I went to Papua New Guinea. Papua New Guineans told me, Pastor, Australians are not regarding Ellen White. Where did they get it from? I went to Kenya, to Tanzania, and I was told, how is Ellen White regarded in Australia? Well, I had few words to say, very few, because I know what was happening. Where these teachings are regarded, the church is growing. It's growing like we said here. That's how it is growing. The people from Amani were approached by the government of Tanzania to help them to provide water for the people in Tanzania. It is handful, I can tell you, it is probably about 20 people, but they are coming like 10 at a time. And we already, after 8 months of construction there, we have caught attention. ADRA was there. Why? Because we are colorblind. Gospel is colorblind. Let's remember, the harvest is ready. Can he count on you? Because the workers are few. May God bless you as we are singing hymn number 604.